I'm your huckleberry.
This is not a fully automatic weapon.
I've set my laser from stun, kill.
This is not a fully automatic weapon. This is not a fully automatic weapon. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You may remember that this is my Mark 18 for Pours. I did a video on this recently. It's a PSA 10.5-inch AR. SBA 4 brace, Monstrum Tactical quad rail, Knights Armament knockoff vert grip, the whole thing. It's made to look like a Mark 18. But if you remember in that video, I had a super safety installed. Well, now I've gotten the FRT 3-position from Rare Breed Triggers, which I believe this is actually a Delta Team Tactical 3-position trigger. And I wanted to give you guys an idea of how it works, get a good look at it. So let's go ahead now. So as you can see, it is a 3-position selector. You got safe, semi, and then FRT. So we'll go ahead and show you guys how it works now. So we're gonna go from safe to single. And I forgot to chamber around. That's my fault. All right. So now we're gonna go from safe to semi. Works great. Actually a pretty good trigger pull. When we go in and do a tabletop, I'll break the gun down, we'll look at the internals, and I'll put a trigger scale on it. We'll see what that actually pulls. But semi-auto feels fine. It feels like any other mil-spec trigger, more or less. Now here's FRT. As you can see, you get a much faster rate of fire. Now I need to say, for YouTube, this is not a fully automatic weapon. Please stop demonetizing me. But that's what it is. So guys, it actually runs super quick, and I enjoy the shit out of it. Now the trigger is rather expensive. Rare Breed is selling them for, Delta Team Tactical was selling them for like, so now that Rare Breed has seized them, they're actually a little bit cheaper, so that's a good news. But let's go ahead now. I'm gonna take a few single shots. We're gonna go out here at 100. Try 75. Go back to 100. All right, so no problems there. But if something runs up, you really need to put some rounds down range. That 3rd position is really useful. Now, I will say, when comparing this to the super safety, the 3-position on the Delta Team Tactical, the FRT trigger, is a little more sensitive to putting too much pressure on the trigger. For the super safety, you can stop it from running, but you really have to bear down on it. On this one, it's a little bit more sensitive. It doesn't require quite as much pressure to stop it. But I would say within a couple of magazines, you really do get the hang of it, and it's not a problem after that. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put one more mag through it. If I can, I'm going to try to get some slow-mo footage so you guys can actually see how it resets with every round fired. And in my last video, I did the slow-mo footage from this side. This time, I'm just going to switch and shoot right-handed so you guys can get a better idea of the bolt cycling and the trigger resetting each time. But here it is, just a mag dump in FRT. Super controllable, super easy to shoot. With the 10.5 barrel and that suppressor, it's really not bad at all. But with the 10.5, that suppressor, and an H3 buffer, this thing is running lightning fast. Now I've also got an M16 build that I've got a video coming up on, and when I do that video, you'll see that that one actually has a slower cyclic rate, which I actually enjoy more. I think that one is more pleasant to shoot. But this is nothing to sneeze at, certainly. Suppressor smoking. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to let the suppressor cool down a little bit. I'm going to take the suppressor off and show you guys what happens when you try to run this gun in a 10.5 with an H3 buffer without a can. So sit tight, I'll be right back.
Alright guys, so before we get into trying this without the suppressor, I wanted to show you how this functions so that you can see how it is not considered a machine gun. If you look here in the slow-mo footage, you will see that every time the bolt cycles, it does reset the trigger, so it is still one activation of the trigger per round fired, making it semi-automatic by definition.
Alright guys, so the suppressor finally cooled off enough to where I could take it off. And now I have this with no suppressor. Keep in mind this does have a brake and not a flash hider. But I'll show you guys what I've been seeing when I'm running this without the suppressor with the FRT. Let's go ahead and try to do, how about we do some single shots first? Alright, so there's a good indicator of what we're getting. Now I believe what it is that without the suppressor, the H3 buffer is too heavy. But when I run a carbon buffer, it doesn't run any better. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is get an H2 or an H1 and try it with that. But I will say, with the H3, this thing has no recoil. So I'll go ahead and try to run it in FRT mode. Let's see what happens. Nope, single shot, bolt lock back. Didn't go back far enough to pick up a round, or did it? Maybe. Couple of shots. So I'm gonna just stop there because there's no point in really trying to keep going. But just keep that in mind. And I know for a fact this PSA is overgassed. Pretty much all of them are. But on a 10.5 with the H3 buffer and no suppressor, the gun barely runs, much less running with the FRT. Now I'll tell you what, I will go ahead real quick. I'll grab a carbon buffer and let's just see what happens. Give me 1 second. Alright guys, so I went ahead and took the H3 buffer out of here, put a regular carbine buffer in. And I will say, just holding them both at the same time, there's a significant difference in weight there. So I'm not sure. I don't think this is going to run either. But we'll try semi first. I can feel it. It's like a weird impulse. So let's try it on FRT though. Okay. It is running. Let me grab another mag. See if we could dump a full mag on FRT with a carbon buffer. I guess so. Alright, so the last time I tried this, that didn't work. Maybe it just needed to break in a little bit. Definitely significantly louder without the suppressor, with the 10.5 and the compensator on the front. But there it is, guys. That's a good look at the Rare Breed / Delta Team Tactical FRT. Now I'll take it to the tabletop. We'll take this thing apart and I'll show you what the internals look like. See y'all in just a minute. Alright guys, so here we are for the tabletop portion on the FRT review. And again, this is purchased from Rare Breed's website. I know there are, like, you know, people have their own opinions of Rare Breed and whatever. I mean, I get both sides of that coin. It would be ideal if they wouldn't sue everyone, but at the end of the day, if it weren't for them, we would not have the legal protections for FRTs that we currently have. So, you know, I get both sides of that. Either way, this was purchased from Rare Breed's website, and I do believe these are the Delta Team Tactical.
FRTs that had been seized. As you can see, and I'll be straight up with you, shooting suppressed is fucking filthy. And I cannot show you how to install this, but did I tell you how nice these screws are? They're just trigger pins. They come with the FRT. You also get the 3-position safety selector. And, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever changed out a safety selector, but it has a lot to do with taking this grip off first. I think you'll figure it out. But seriously, guys, as far as putting one of these things in, it is no difficult task at all. If you can change any AR trigger, you can install one of these FRTs. It is super simple to figure out. And that is one of the biggest benefits to the FRT system as opposed to something like a super safety. Because something like a super safety is certainly going to require a little more tuning. You have to either buy one with a pre-cut trigger or modify a trigger yourself, and that can come with certain aspects. And then some people's lowers don't necessarily work because of the shelf height, or the uppers may not work. Whereas with this particular system, the FRT, it is very much so a drop-in and it's ready to rock system. A little bit and another thing that I think I like about these better, I have a feeling that this will last a lot longer than a super safety. And I don't think a super safety, especially one made out of good materials, you can get them now made out of like D2 tool steel, A7 steel, 4140, 316 stainless. There's a slew of different materials that you can select from now. So getting one with a solid steel, like a good steel rating, is certainly going to help enhance reliability and certainly provide for more longevity. However, I still think this design is probably the most resilient of the bunch. And I mean, really, it's not a whole lot to show you on the inside. If you're going to shoot a lot suppressed, you're going to want to pull this out every once in a while and just make sure you're cleaning it. I'm actually about to clean this whole rifle after we finish this video. But I wanted to give you guys a look on the inside. Do I regret spending the money? Not really. I wanted to have one regardless. And I definitely want to get one of each type. Like, I'd like to have at least one. Probably multiples, if I'm being honest. But at least one of the FRTs, one of the super safeties, one of the Atrius super selectors. At some point, I want to get out here to test. And there are also a lot of new ones coming out to market. But one thing I can show you guys before we wrap up the video, a lot of guys complain that once they're putting them on, they cannot close the upper because of the, because you get that gap right there when you try to close it. The easiest way to do it is put this thing on fire, put your thumb on the hammer, squeeze the trigger, gently hit that so your hammer goes into the forward position. And then when you go to put it on, I don't know why this is so awkward doing this in front of like a camera, but when you go to put it on, you just bump your bolt back a little bit, and there it is. It snaps together. But yeah, guys, this is definitely, of course, you can't put it on safety until the hammer is cocked. But this is definitely the simplest way to go about installing an FRT, is to get one of these. They are a little on the pricey side. They can only be found at one place that I'm currently aware of. That is just from a couple of days of running suppressed. The thing gets disgusting. So far though, no issues on this particular gun. This is my PSA Mark 18 Mod 0 build. Probably pushing around 1,100-1,200 rounds through this one already. And that was about 600 on the super safety, another 600 on the FRT. No problem with either whatsoever. And I would say either of them are good to go. If you're on a tight budget, super safety may be the better bet. But if you have the money to spend, I do believe this is the way to go. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you had any other questions, or if there's anything else you wish you would have seen in this video. Let me know if you guys want to see a comparison video between the FRT and the super safety, and possibly the Atrius if I can get my hands on one. Let me know all that down in the comments below. And as always, take care of yourselves, stay safe, peace out.